Hello and welcome back to BIMvoice. Today I want to have a chat with my good old friend from Oslo, Håkon Reisvang, who is a serial entrepreneur and who's digitizing the built environment. Hi Håkon.
Hello, sir.
What I want to talk with you about today, Håkon, is your 1.5 hours long episode on what is BIM. You have your own channel in Norwegian, and you released a quite long episode on this theme right here. What is BIM? And this is what I want to discuss with you about today. Now, please tell me, why did you make that episode? What was your goal with that episode?
Many goals, of course. Well, it's about my technologies. It's about how to digitize the industry. It's what I work with. So it just encompasses everything I work with. So that's why I made it. Education, spreading of information, all of those good things.
I see. But if I'm not mistaken, you had also some philosophical takes there or psychological ones.
Yeah, well, I made What is BIM over 16 episodes. Well, basically what is BIM is how to make anything with information models, with the best technologies and the best theory. So that is basically what this BIM is, with the contractual stuff and the process stuff as well. But I have a podcast on the side from that because I'm working with AI, and Elon Musk says AI is very dangerous. So I have to focus on values. When you're working with the AI, you have to focus on values. And I'm very curious where our values come from. I'm actually a closeted philosopher. So that's what really interests me. And I have a lot of, I don't know what you call it, creator joy. I like to work with technology, but I'm a philosopher at heart.
Interesting. That's a lot in there. Now, let's try to do this more compressed than you did it. So let's try to do it in around 15 minutes.
You want me to do the whole series?
No. I mean only the episode, the 1.5 hours long episode.
Yeah, but you should realize that is the first 16 episodes.
So it's based on the first ones. Okay.
Oh, it is the first ones. It is the 16 first episodes. And then I made the whole series as a podcast episode for the...
Oh.
And that's why it is philosophy in there, of course.
Now I understand.
So it's, what do you call it when Family Guy and American Dad is on the same episode?
I don't know how you can call that.
Crossover episode. It's the I4 cinematic universe.
Try to convey what you think is most important and try to compress it in 15 minutes. Like, what are the most important takes from that? And what is BIM? How you describe it during all those episodes?
In the beginning of the series, I just tried to clarify what are we talking about here, because we're trying to get to say sustainability. And one way to do that is to tax the cheapest energy. But of course, even though that looks really good and promotes clean energy, it throws poor people under the bus. So I think that the best way to go about sustainability is to make everything way more efficient. So that's what the economy is based on, efficiency increase. And we have a name for that, digitization. And everything is going to be digitized by information models. And that is what BIM is. So how do we work with BIM? How do we extract the potential of information models? Well, the main problem I address is that we're centered around the wrong information model standard, a 20-year-old information model standard that, yes, produces a little value now, but the way things are going, the standardization organizations, the way the industry is moving, think about real estate. It's sort of at the core of the industry. So think about all the information we can sort of structure and make that way more efficient. So it's really important that buildings are based on the best information models. And IFC is an information model, but it's not really that good of an information model. A good information model is the information model Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the internet, is coming up with now. 30 years in the making almost. Take internet back from Facebook and Google and all of those companies that made us the product. But the great thing about that is it also comes with this infrastructure that separates applications from databases, because that's the big problem industry has, that all databases are sort of different. not all databases are different, but there are a lot of different databases. So we need to we need to connect everything with all of these different complicated APIs. But what if we just had the best data model and use that for everything? The creator of the internet seems like that's a good idea, and it will solve GDPR. And like you say, construction, that's the least digitized industry. People like to say that. Yeah, why? It's because databases, like the core, like the bottom core of the technology stack, everything runs on, is different from program to program. And when you have the supply chain, the construction industry have, of course, construction is the least digitized industry in the world. So even though IFC is creating some more value now, it's not the way to go. But the technology isn't really ready yet for RDF. But of course, if you want to make money in the future construction industry, you go into IT and build everything on RDF. But of course, people don't really know about Solid because Facebook and Google has no value in promoting it, because it sort of lays the groundwork for a fair information economy, and that's nothing they have an interest in. So that's sort of the philosophical part for me. It's that the same thing that can fix construction and real estate can actually fix the internet, because like we're sort of 50% more or less conservative or more or less liberal, and those kind of people do not see the world the same way. So if you as a big tech company tells everyone they're right and they're wrong, it's going to, like, we have exponential technology now. That's the same as exponential weapons development. Think when Corona costs nothing to produce, it's really dangerous. And when you sort of spread the seeds of, it's not good. So what I actually try to do is to make algorithms that are better for people. And right now we're working in the real estate and construction industry. So I made this What is BIM, because that's how to effectivize construction and real estate.
Can you very briefly pinpoint how is this approach better than IFC? How does this fix the shortcomings of the IFC?
Well, the IFC is just a static model. It's a solution for transferring data between one database to another, and it works sort of like that. But it's like an ant compared to a Tesla. It's a table. It's based on table databases. Then you need rules for everything, and it's very complicated to make. And that's not what reality is like. Remember the first AI winters? All the materialist researchers thought that it would be so easy to make AI because they thought the world was made of objects, but it's made of a mixture of meaning and objects, meaning and matter and what matters. That's what reality. So you need like this meaning layer to interpret. And graph databases is built off of triples: subject, predicate, object. It's the predicate. That's what it's all about. It's what one thing is in relation to another thing. The universe is sort of a relative place, I think someone smart once said. So it's sort of the technology to create like general intelligence. I think it's what Jeff Hawkins thinks when he writes 1,000 Brains. You need knowledge representation, like deep learning, pattern recognition. Yeah, the brain does that. But the thinking part, AIs come nowhere there. And that's where we're working, and we're doing that in construction and real estate for the moment, and or it's going to be for a while. But yeah, that's basically what we're doing. So I have like this first part that's all about technology, the main problem with the information models, and then I have a way of mapping all the different industry 4 technologies onto the human body. So it's easier to remember, like an interpretive framework. We all need to understand the world. That's what this semantic AI is going to give us as well. So I have this one part about technology where I try to sort of give people the whole picture, how all these different technologies fits together. And then I have this 3 split. It's technology, it's contracts, and it's processes. It's this 3 split we all know of from industry. But why is it like that? Because, of course, you're people. We are people, and we are collaborating. That's the process. And we're using technology to collaborate and create value. So we're humans collaborating with technology to create value. So you need like this one dimension for humans and values. That's incentivization. That's what contracts is all about. And then you have like a process layer. That's the rules of the game. How do you make and coordinate the requirements, basically? So we have this ISO 19650, which is basically the standard of how to do requirements and coordinate them. So you get the working information model for your asset. That focuses really on life cycle. That's good because like sensors and deep learning analytics is going to price of zero almost. And that means you can measure everything. You can remove most risks and the customer can only pay for the result. That's as a service. That's why that business model is so important. We need to nest the value creation in the operations phase, I think.
Yeah.
Because we can actually measure now that our buildings doesn't do so well.
yeah, that's true.
But you know the cognitive dissonance is that the life cycle, the project life cycle model, is nested within a project framework, which is completely stupid. That's sort of
work. Yeah.
No, it's you sort of incentivize people the old way, and you just think that they're going to act differently. It's like we're not living in reality, guys. Not living in reality. But of course, it's not because we're stupid. It's because like people with power has a say, and their old business models are making them money. So it's just like the old Bible quote that all hierarchies are growing. What do you know? Bad, totalitarian over time.
Yeah, well, I think it's more complex than that. Like
More
I'm thinking like
that?
yeah, much more complex than that. Just think about.
I think I said something that was incredibly complex.
Yeah,
like
but let me tell you why I say that. It's very difficult, like for a CEO, let's say, that runs an organization, right, to be willing to focus on this long time frame, 100 years or 50 years, right? Because then how will he show any good results? So it's much easier to focus on, I built this project, I built that project, and so on, right? It's much easier. But trying to do that for a much longer time span, it doesn't, like, you can never put that in your resume and say that, I was a 10% part of that project, right? Meanwhile, you can say, I built 10,000s of projects, right? And I'm this strong, cool guy. This is one of the random thoughts, but there are so many other things in this. Now I will go back to this amazing format that you are talking about and trying to look at things very simple. So what IFC is trying to do right now is to find the middle ground between all these different languages that all the other programs are speaking, right? And to try to find the middle ground so we can communicate together. And what I understand from what you are explaining regarding Web3 and your solution, Solid and everything else, is that this is a radical solution. And I'm wondering if you can integrate or use any existing systems with this, or is this something 100% a clean new slate and you cannot use the existing tools, for example? Do you see any partial use of this as a first stage in this and not a complete full scale when it will remove all the existing solutions and be something like what IFC is trying to do, but actually be much more effective and better?
Yeah, it will remove all the existing solutions over time. So in the beginning, it will speak to systems, but of course, when you're building something like a Tesla engine, you don't need a horse. Of course, can we use the horse to pull the car? Maybe it's not smart to focus on. Maybe we can get some more value from the IFC. If all the IFC guys just started learning linked data, RDF, graph databases, started to focus on that. I know they really want to build cool stuff, but in order to achieve cool things, you need to sacrifice, and it's hard to learn stuff.
Just to clarify this, I don't say that to use this technology to make IFC better. I mean that if you can use this new database model to replace IFC, but not...
Definitely, that's what we're doing. Definitely.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, like, I know, but the long goal is like to remove the need of tools like Revit as well. But I mean, like, can this also...
So like step one is transferring the IFC file to a graph database.
Okay, so you can use this actually. You can use this in this level.
Yeah, we have automation for that.
Okay, I understand. So actually you are saying that RDF could be used and could replace in the first place IFC.
No, it will. Guaranteed all the standardizations are working on it. Like ISO, that's BIM level 3 in ISO 19650. OGC, they do satellite data, map data, and they are working with OpenAR Cloud to create this GeoPose standard and the reality modeling language for the spatial web, and that's ontologies.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Web3 Consortium, the standardization organization of the internet, is full on with the standardization of ontologies.
What about Building Smart? Are they aware about this? Do they not see any value in this?
Of course they do, but they're sort of like, they've been married to this one woman for 20 years and it's hard to let go. But like in Norway, they actually had this competition of linked data on this bridge project, on this massive road project we have in Norway. So Building Smart Norway is actually breaking up, I think. I think they have summoned the courage. You have to let it go.
To invest into this?
No, to focus on linked data, the next paradigm.
Do they have any work group researching this further? Do you know anything?
Yeah, man, just Google linked data and Building Smart.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Then that's very good.
Yeah, that's good. But still we over-focus on IFC. But I like that.
Yeah, but you need the spark. You need the spark. You need the first good example, right? When you get this first good example, then it's easier to emulate it further on.
Maybe this makes it easier. Parametric design. That's something that people are talking a lot about now. This is systems parametric design, what we're making. The problem with BIM is that, yeah, it's great for visualization, but it's like a static model. It doesn't have like a time addition to it. It's just a file, and it doesn't have any systems intelligence. So what we do is we build in systems intelligence into the model. So yeah, that's what it's about. It's not the first value suggestion, but it's coming. It's definitely coming.
Okay, let's close this with a guess. When do you think that RDF is going to replace IFC at full scale globally?
At full scale globally?
Yeah.
I don't know.
To be more popular than IFC, let's say.
Well, it depends on so many factors. Of course, if everyone just educated themselves on this, and
it's just a guess.
Industry just
a guess from your standpoint.
I don't want to guess.
Oh, come on.
If we went full speed, like I'm in this innovation project now that we really can make a lot of the solutions, especially for the real estate part of it, like really make space management optimized so the customers has full control over everything that happens in their building. That's what we're focused on now, and it's just going. I think it's not going to take us longer than maybe a year or two to complete that solution, and that will I think revolutionize space management. And that's part one. You know, we're thinking first principles about databases, and we're thinking first principles about areas, because that's our customer values. You have to make like your areas the primary infrastructure of your buildings and make all the other systems serve those values, the highest values, just like in normal life. So it's all about systems thinking. But yeah, RDF taking over, I think it's going to be completely normal in 10 years. But it's like you have to, if we went all in on this, it could go way quicker. But Google is not incentivized. Facebook is not incentivized. You know, when you're at a board in a business that tries to make money, and you're a conscientious person, you know what makes money, but you don't really know how everything connects. So there are a bunch of those people in the boards. And when Facebook and Google are making so much money on selling you, Petru, or selling the customer, that becomes the normal business model. But here, Tim Berners-Lee comes with this thing that everyone owns their own data. How are we going to make business models on that? They have no idea. So that's where they are disincentivized. But what they're missing is that with this technology, you can make all of IT infrastructure way more efficient. And that's sort of the point of capitalism, guys. So it's for people to wake up and really understand that, yeah, if you want to be like big tech slaves, sure, just continue the way you are doing it. But if we want this free, open internet and that can create value on massive scale, then without making us all slaves, that would be great. And that's why I think that Solid is the best thing in the world. And that's why I focus so much on it, why we build on our technology on it.
All right, Håkon. Thank you very much. It was very insightful, this talk with you.
Good to see you again, Petru. See here, Telia. With the other company I didn't talk anything about, we're going to visualize the government buildings, and we're partnering with the Telia, which with their 5G projects. It's really cool.
That can definitely be the topic of another future chat we will have. Like,
Let's
for example,
yeah,
we can do that. And the one after that can be one that we will definitely fight on for a bit. And that's blockchain.
Blockchain?
Yes.
Don't
Don't
care
say
about
anything anymore on it right now. It's a topic.
I don't know about blockchain.
Oh, yes, but you have
blockchain.
some interesting takes on blockchain. So
you can't build Web3 on blockchain. That's just stupid.
No.
But some of blockchains are probably going to survive it. But remember, I told you I'm a philosopher.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we're going to talk about suffering. Is that cool?
Suffering.
That's what all philosophy is built upon.
But can we marry that somehow with BIM? To
Of
not
course.
be okay.
Suffering is the motivation to get better in life. And
Yeah.
the way you get better in your job, which is most of your life, is to effectivize it, get really competent. And the way you do that is by effectivizing it with information models.
All right. That sounds perfect. So we'll talk about that next time. Thank you for now.
See you, man.